Welcome back, my friends. Skirt.
Hi there everyone, just some ordinary dude here, and welcome to another edition of Discussions with the Dude. Today I'm joined by a few guests. We've got professional artist and writer of the Loud House comics, Amanda Lioi. How are you today?
I'm good.
We've also got another artist in Alejindio rejoining us for another podcast. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And then we've also
Thank
got
you for inviting me.
Noe from the last couple of podcasts. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
And we've got Josh Pulliam with us as well. How are you?
Good, great. I'm ready to really unload a lot of the ideas I have.
That's good.
Like a lot of the OCs I came up with for my take on the Loud House.
Yeah. So
basically,
yeah. So today's topic, as Josh just alluded to, basically we're going to discuss OCs of the Loud House and alternate universes or alternate takes on the show itself. You know, and we're just going to sort of brainstorm some ideas and some stuff that we've either seen or worked on based on the show, and just alternate takes on everything. I've done a couple of similar-ish sort of podcasts, but I think, you know, there's enough material here for its own thing. Does anyone want to start this one off?
I guess I'll start it off.
Yeah.
Well, as I've explained before, I've come up with my own story called Tales of the Great Lakes. It basically is an AU, but they also serve as potential episode ideas for actual episodes of the Loud House, if they were ever to be adapted.
Yeah.
So it's also got a few more mature storylines. Like the ones I'm going to be bringing up involves some of the OCs that I've come up with.
Okay. And have you got any sort of obviously, you've created a lot of OCs and a lot of alternate sort of ideas based around the Loud House. Are there any particular examples you'd like to give us as you elaborate on it a bit more?
Well, a lot of them evolve around Rosa Casagrande's side of the family, something that was never really explored into at the time. It's when the show ran, and I always thought we knew about Frida's side of the family with Grandpa Danny and all that.
Yeah.
But other than... Also, there was Mama Lupe and her deceased father, Lazaro. That's the only thing we really knew about Rose's part of the family.
Yeah.
And, well, I actually came up with a set of characters called the Espinoza clan, who are members from Rose's side of the family. They consist of... hold on. Sorry, someone was trying to call me, but anywho, these characters, one of them is her world-traveling brother named Fernando, and he's this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? He's this really adventurous kind of jack of all trades kind of guy who's got a real daredevil attitude, and everybody in the family loves him when he comes to visit. And much like Grandpa Danny, Hector gets really jealous whenever he shows up and steals the spotlight.
That's that kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
And in one of the... Sorry, I had the speaker off. I didn't know if I couldn't really hear you guys first. But yeah, in one of the storylines, Hector tries to get rid of him by suggesting that he moves to Sunset Canyon, which he does, and the whole family gets mad at Hector at first, but then Fernando's like, "It's okay, I like it here," so he's just gonna stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
He also
that place is pretty exclusive, right?
Another thing I was gonna include was that Fernando starts a relationship with Clyde's Nana Gail.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, as for the rest of the Espinosa clan, which is what I've decided to call them, revolves around Fernando's half-Hawaiian son, Keone Enrique, because he actually conceived a son with some woman in Hawaii. And when he turned 15, he actually brought Enrique with him on his world travels. And during his 15th birthday, or quinceañero as it's called in Spanish culture, he gets sent to Japan where he meets his arranged bride, Akiko, who is the niece of a close friend of Fernando's named Tobayama, who's a ninja sensei.
Okay.
Well, yeah, a lot of the story is based... Enrique and Akiko's story, their flashback story, is based on a lot of the old rom-com animes of the 80s. Stuff like Urusei Yatsura, Kamagori Orange Road, and probably most popular, Ranma One Half. So yeah, that's what I based a lot of that on.
Yeah.
Yeah, at first Enrique and Akiko can't stand each other. They have a lot of quarrels, but then they end up unleashing an ancient Japanese demon, and it takes the two of them to fight it off, and eventually they start to grow on each other.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And they end up starting a family. Both Enrique and Akiko end up having two children. One of them is their son Saigo, and then the second one is their daughter Chisa Consuela, or Cece for short. And they end up becoming a ninja clan, and hence why they're called the Espinosa clan, because they're a family of ninjas.
This sounds like a cool concept.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And in one of the darker storylines of my Tales of the Great Lakes, called Sayonara Saigo, is one where most of the Espinosa clan gets kidnapped by the Yakuza, and Saigo has to travel all the way to America to get help from his relatives, the Casagrandes, to try and save them.
Okay. Sounds like you've put some in-depth thought into.
I put a lot of in-depth background into these characters. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting.
I'm not moving on. Another OC I wanted to always come up with was her name is Angelica Santiago, and she's Arturo's mother, or Granny Angie, as Bobby and Ronnie Ann call her.
Okay.
And in one of my storylines, which I haven't gotten around to making a synopsis for, or even a title card, was that she just recently got out of prison and this here is the key point of what I imagine led to Arturo and Maria's divorce, was something that was called the Santiago Meltdown of 2009, when Angie suspected that Maria was cheating on Arturo with another man and started to cause a huge riot around the neighborhood.
Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah, and when she finally gets out of prison, the whole family is walking on eggshells, wondering how she's going to react to knowing that her and Arturo got divorced and that Maria's moved on with T-Bone. And in my storyline, Arturo ends up with Bruno the hot dog man.
Okay.
Because I
Interesting.
always imagined Arturo would be LGBT, which is another reason why they split up. I don't know, just something about his behavior and his body language kind of made me think this. I mean, he literally kisses Bruno in one of the episodes. I mean, come on.
I don't know, maybe.
There's no way that man is straight.
Well, I don't know. Well, I suppose that these are all.
I mean, it's possible he may be a bisexual because he did date Ronnie Ann's teacher, Ms. Galliano, in one episode, but I'm just saying.
Well.
There's no way he's straight.
Well, I don't know. Well, who knows? But either way, yeah, so obviously you've got quite a lot of OCs and sort of ideas for your own take on the, well, more to do with the Casa Grandes really than the Loud House, I think, in your case.
But that's only scratching the surface. There's a ton of other ones like
Well, that's probably, in your case, is like a lot of them. What I will say to those of you listening to this podcast, I have seen some of Josh's, deviations and stuff, and some of his posts on the likes of DeviantArt and wherever else. I'll probably put a link in the description of the video if you guys are interested in some of the ideas that he's just brought up. And I'm interested to see what else he's came up with. Go and check out his.
I haven't even
on there. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even gotten to the Motor City Big Bucks yet, which is, of course, Becky's family.
Yeah, that's like some sort of spin-off on Becky's family, isn't it, with Bella Big Bucks? I think I've seen a picture about that on your DeviantArt.
Yes, I mean, I've come up with a ton of family members and all their businesses and what they do for a living.
You know, with all these
where
like
Becky's
spin-offs,
wrestling persona comes from.
Yeah. Do you know what all this reminds me of? Like with all your ideas, Josh, where you take these characters and you like add all these like new OCs and relatives and all this lore to it. It reminds me of the Archie comics, Sonic the Hedgehog. Remember when they had like that Knuckles spin-off and there was like 100 new Echidna characters come into it? It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. But yeah, since we've got quite a lot of material to get through, obviously with each of the rest of you, you've also got plenty of OCs and stuff like that. Who'd like to sort of go next and elaborate a bit more? Like, obviously, two of you have elaborated on your OCs before, in the case of Alejindio and Noe, because I've done podcasts with you before about that sort of thing, obviously. If there's anything else sort of maybe you think you hadn't brought up in the previous podcast you'd like to elaborate on now, yeah.
I don't really have any OCs. I mostly just draw people's OCs. Yeah. I mean, I have like a little bit of knowledge about some of them.
Well, I was actually going to ask because I did have this sort of thing. Obviously, you've written for and done artwork for the comics for a number of years now, Amanda.
Yes.
Have you ever come up with like any, say, original characters for any of those comic strips that you've done for the official comic series?
Actually, yes. There was, I believe it was in volume 16, right before I became a writer. There was a story I got assigned. It was called Flyer Face Off, and it was about Luna and the Moon Goats facing off against this other band called the Mangoes. And these were characters. I asked my editor, I was like, "Are these characters that exist in the show?" Because I haven't really, I hadn't watched the show in a while. And they were like, "Oh no, these are original characters, like just exclusively for the comics." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I had to come up with designs for them. So that was like one time I've done that. I think it's the only time I can really recall, actually, but it was interesting because I was kind of surprised. I was still kind of relatively new doing the comics. I was surprised that they assigned me a story where I had to come up with my own characters and own designs for them. But if you ever want to check that out, it's in volume 16. So
volume 16. Let's have a little.
Yeah, and like both groups create like they both create posters. They keep trying to outdo each other with creating posters, and like they keep pasting each other's on top, and it's like really funny.
I remember that.
Like, elaborate.
Yeah, let's have a little look.
You know, it's funny you bring up Luna going up against another band because this is another OC I came up with.
Yeah.
He's this high-class rich guy named Nickelby Blue Chips, and him and his band, the Foreclosures, were going to duel against Luna and the Moon Goats in one of my storylines. And the thing is about Nickelby is that he has a crush on Sam and is always trying to convince her to leave the Moon Goats and join their band.
That's funny.
So this gives Luna like a real rival against, Sam's affections.
Yeah, right.
And, Sam wants nothing to do with this hoity-toity rich guy from Huntington Oaks. And Luna's always got to try and defend her from him.
That's funny. I actually kind of like that concept.
I can actually, I can actually picture that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, so going back to that whole thing, now that I'm actually trying to find volume 16, I had this website where I could read all the Loud House comics. I don't know where it's gone. Because I was going to literally look that up while you were just talking there.
I think there's this site called like Read Comics Online or something, and it has all the links to each book or the most recent books, I guess. But
yeah. But I was just going to look that up while we were here, but it doesn't really matter. But so obviously you have created your own occasional OC for the comics.
Yes.
But like you mentioned before, a lot of what you mainly do is draw other people's OCs, including one of mine at one point, I think, and it's quite funny because have you guys, I think some of you have seen the story I wrote called Souls of Art, haven't you? The one where Luna
I definitely
have.
Oh, sorry.
And there is a character that I created in it called Amanda Curator, who is named after Amanda here in this podcast. She was like this sort of business owner of like an art company or something. And Luna, the main point of that story is that Luna was helping Lily become a better artist because she saw that Lily was learning how to paint and everything. And it turns out Luna actually has a hidden
I have seen those, yeah.
Oh yeah. I know those. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think you did read that story, didn't you? I think I sent it to you a few months ago.
Yeah. You did. Yeah. You sent it to me in its like script format, and it looked really good.
Well, that script format that I showed you, that's how episodes are actually made in the show. There was a fellow member of the Loud House fandom who a while ago sent me some leaked episode scripts from season 7, and I basically copied that exact structure and format and made professional spec scripts based on that. So I did Souls of Art, which had, like I said, had an OC that I did end up naming after Amanda here because she ended up drawing her for me. And I also did, actually, you and I did co-write another spec script, didn't we, Amanda? Called Laughing Melody. And you may have seen some of the other artwork I've done where Luan joins Luna's band for a while. And yeah, Amanda and I here did actually co-write a story based on that. If anyone's interested.
Sure, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah. Tried to send it to one of the writers on the show, but we didn't have much luck with that.
No, these that's the problem with Nickelodeon these days. They just want to hide behind corporate bullshit. But there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
have gone in touch with show staff. I mean, I have been in contact with Jessica Barutsky, who's the supervising director on the Loud House.
Yeah.
And we originally got in contact last October because I had inquired about wanting to become a freelance writer for the show. And she was like, "Hey, let me run that by the team and see if we need anybody." And then it's, I gave her several months because, they're busy. And I reached out to her again back in April. I was like, "Hey, did you ever get the chance to mention me to the team?" And she said, "Yes, I did." And she's like, "Unfortunately, we're just not looking for freelance writers. We have a full-time writing staff." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." She's like, "I'll let you know if anything changes though." So I was like, "Okay, I'm on their radar at least." So that's the stuff.
I've wanted to be a writer for the show for years, but they won't ever give me a chance. But there you have it. Yeah. But yeah, so obviously, yeah, we've all got different OCs, AUs, and stuff like that. I suppose what I should also say is, in your case, Alejindio, I have spoken about the likes of some of your alternate takes on the Loud Sisters before. Like, obviously, there's the older versions of Lana and Lola, from some of the stuff that you do with the Amazing Peanuts. I suppose an OC we've never really brought up of yours before is the one that's in your profile pic. You've got a OC called Brandon. That's right? Yeah.
Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry if I'm being quiet a little. I'm doing here a commission. I'm sorry for that. Well, yeah. I mean, as you know, I have here. I'm sorry. My OC. I mean, my main OC is Brandon Loud. Lincoln Twins' brother. He's the one I must use. But you were talking about my avatar in DeviantArt?
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of embarrassing to me. Okay, I will tell you this. Many people, I don't know if any of you know, I have told to you before that I once was My Little Pony fan. I used to do some fanfics for My Little Pony, and that's where right now I know this is called self-insert. You know what a self-insert is?
Yeah.
I did that with My Little Pony, and you can see that's my avatar in there in my DeviantArt. His name is Alex. I mean, I'm Alejandro, Alex, and I did a couple of fanfics with him, in that franchise, and there is where he was born. Yeah, he was my very first OC, to be honest.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if a self-insert is an OC,
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. After him, I became. I did another OC that was not a self-insert. Don't worry, but for My Little Pony, but he wasn't that relevant. After that, I became a huge fan of the Loud House. I started to read fanfics to watch the show, but most of all, I like the fanfics because the fanfics explore things that the show will never explore, of course. And then I started to think, hey, I want to do a fanfic, but what do I use? And then I did my first OC for the Loud House. That it wasn't Brandon. I don't know if you know who it was.
No.
No, yeah, it's not a very known, very known story. My first OP was Luke Loud, like Luna's gender. Yeah.
Oh, I think I might have seen. Is this like back when you did something called L Primer Loud. I think I remember seeing some old drawings on your DeviantArt about this.
Yeah, the first Loud.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My first fanfic for the Loud House was the first Loud, where in the family before Lori, there was Lori is not the firstborn, is her big brother, Luke Loud. He was stolen from when he was a baby. He was raised with another woman who couldn't have kids. Then many years later, he meet his real family when his stepmother tells him about them. And there's many, how he wants to meet them. He wants to get close to his sisters, his parents that never stop hoping he will come back someday. And yeah, I like that story. I ended it, and then my second OC is Brandon Loud, Lincoln twin brother, another brother. Even one friend of mine told me, another brother, really? But I don't know. I like brothers, But yeah, Lincoln twin brother. And when I think about Loud, Brandon, I thought I want him to be the opposite of Lincoln. I mean, and sometimes I really treat him like what the fans of the Loud House want to tell Lincoln. Like, you remember that episode where Lincoln starts taking filming his embarrassing moment of his sisters, and then they get angry with him. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember episode.
that.
Yeah.
And in my fanfic, Brandon is there, and he tells Lincoln, seriously, are you really doing this? You know they're going to kill you, right? Sometimes I use him to express what people will say about Lincoln actions.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's how my Brandon and since many people really like Brandon, he's the OCI I use the most. Sometimes I bring Luke back, Yeah. But yeah, I think I like to bring Luke back again, maybe with a new fanfic or at least in a couple of comics. But time sometimes is not kind with you, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, at this point, your most popular OCs are, well, really the alternate versions of the sisters, aren't they? So you've got your future Loud sisters, particularly Lana, Lola, Lisa, and Lily. And how about, because you came up with those like future versions of the Loud sisters before you and Roy started doing that, like those commissions together, right? So how did you come up with those older versions of the characters and their designs? Well, I think I remember hearing something about similar to the French Knight, but yeah.
Well, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Yeah, I mean, you mean how I come with the idea? Well, with my OC Brandon Loud, I wanted. It was after the Marvel movie. Did you know the Infinity Wars, where the snap where Thanos disappears half of the humanity?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to do an alternate version with that, with Brandon, where Brandon is the only one who get snapped and all the Louds don't. He is very unlucky, I know. But then I think, at first I was going to do Lola, because Lola is the one.
Zane's joining in.
Zane!
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we're doing that OC conversation that we spoke about, where we talk about people's OCs and alternate takes on the Loud House and everything. Yeah. So just so you kept up to speed.
Yeah. Okay, I will continue. Okay, as I was saying, at first I was going to do Lola because she's the only one. She's the one who watched Brandon disappear, and she's the one who looked for him when she realized the people are returning. When Thanos is beaten, right?
Yeah.
And but then and that's how Lola was the first I did. An 11 years old Lola. But then I wanted to know, Brandon reuniting with all his sisters, but they grew up as well.
Oh, so they're
So I
all
started
5 years older. Yeah.
yeah. So I did a
Mm.
yeah. So I knew I needed all of the a model of all of them grown up, and that's how I say, okay, not only Lola, I will do all of them grown up.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how that came about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's quite interesting. Yeah. Obviously, now they're almost known for like something completely different, aren't they? Because of the stuff that you do with Roy. Brandon isn't really included in that. So I suppose that's sort of almost like its own take on things, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the original idea was just that, do a couple of some pics with the grown-up sister, and that's it. But Roy took a very good liking on them, and that's how it all ended with me and him.
Yeah.
He keeps commissioning, and even me started to do some more pics with them because I started to get a lot of liking for them, most of all with the ones he uses, Lala, Lola, Lisa, and Lily.
Yeah.
And sometimes Lucy.
Yeah. And so we've got that. I mean, since you've just joined us, Zane, I can't remember. Do you actually have any OCs of your own?
Nope.
I know you mainly just like to focus on Nikki, don't you? But yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, well, since you haven't got any OCs of your own, maybe you'd like to share with us some of your favourite Loud House OCs within the fandom.
Yeah. About that, I don't really. I'm not really up to like the favorite OCs. I'm not really into those right now.
Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to let you know I shared the link to Volume 16 in the chat if y'all want to check it out.
Yeah, I've just seen that.
Yeah, I saw the notification there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look it up later on. But yeah. So obviously, what I have already done a whole podcast with you, Noah, about your OCs. And
right.
For those of you who don't know, he's the one who does the Luna Loud the Knockout Rocker, about Luna being a boxer. Keep in mind, he came up with this story years before the episode of the show came out, where it turns out Luna doesn't have a very good threshold for pain. So yeah, that didn't.
Yeah.
It kind of turned her into a wuss a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird. Like you always sort of got the impression that Luna was kind of tough to begin with, but I don't know. They seem to be making her a bit more of a wimp in the more recent seasons. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, especially in that episode where they were trying to get tattoos and she was afraid of.
That's the episode I'm talking about. It's made out like she can't handle pain, and it's like, but she gets into really violent brawls with her siblings on a pretty much daily basis.
Yeah, she can handle it, so
yeah, come on,
she can handle a tattoo.
It's contradicting storytelling.
No,
Yeah.
seriously,
I mean,
it's like, when did you become more of a lightweight than Bobby? I'm like, well.
Yeah, like the Loud House has never had particularly great continuity, to be perfectly fair. But yeah, it's still like, really. But anyway,
that's what they need. That's what they need. Fresh new voices to write episodes.
That's the problem. They keep wanting to do new seasons, but a lot of their current writers, not that they're not talented, but I think they're burnt out. I actually think, again, I've told you all this many times before, the show needs a reboot. It needs to be restarted again. And, have a team of fresh writers and have someone with a perfect vision for the show.
I guess the way I see it, we as fans have the advantage of having that creator freedom with no restrictions at all.
Well, that's not entirely true because I've done many spec scripts and I always do them with the same self-imposed constraints that the professional writers have.
Well, yeah, there is that, but we still have our fan fiction stories where we can write whatever we want, however we want to. So there is that.
Well, I suppose.
It's true.
But yeah, I'm just saying. So
you know what?
Yeah.
So, sorry. I mean, I wanted to say, what OC came to my mind lately because a girl asked me for a commission about her, and I have to admit I had forgotten her, but she exists. Do you remember Liberty?
Liberty. I've heard the
It sounds
name.
familiar.
She's
Sounds
she,
a little
she
familiar.
she was born from Linka. She's like another version of Linka.
Right.
I think
Okay.
I think she was
Cool.
created by Jump Jump,
Okay.
but I remember that I used to watch a lot of comics about her with Lana and Lincoln, but then it stopped. I think it was because the author got in some troubles, but I told you I had forgotten her, but then a girl asked me for a commission about her, and I say, okay, yes, she remembers her, but it was just very random because years of not hearing anything about her, and then a commission about her. So I think maybe people is starting to remember her again. I don't know.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of went on a bit of a tangent, didn't we?
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah,
Well,
we were talking. We were about to talk about my OCs next, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously we have.
I mean, yeah, we did talk about it. You and I, we did talk about them like 3 or 4 podcasts ago, maybe.
Yeah. But obviously, if there's anything else you want to say that you hadn't done in the first one that you wanted to add now, then by all means, you can elaborate on that here.
Right. So, as some of you already know, I do have a few OCs that coincide with my fanfic. One of them of which is Kate Mark, who is a boxer from Brooklyn, New York, and we got Jackie Rourke from Scotland, which funnily enough is part of the Louth's heritage, which is like when they first teased that movie, I was like, really? And so yeah, that was a little funny there. And there's another one called Umi Watanabe from Japan.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. And I guess we could start off with another OC I haven't talked about yet, which was Vanessa Storm.
Yeah.
And
Storm.
dude, he already knows a good bit about her, so I'm just gonna share with the rest of the class here.
alrighty.
She's a boxer from Los Angeles, California. She basically grew up in the streets with her family because like the Slums and all that. So she had to grow up to be pretty tough pretty quick. She had to work some part-time jobs in her teen years, and she even participated in a little bit of illegal street fighting to earn some quick cash. And then one day she got into a bit of trouble, and she actually got saved from a retired boxer who is now a coach. He saw her fight off these goons that were trying to mess with her, but she got overpowered pretty quickly, honestly. But like I said, he saved her, he patched her up, and he offered to train her to become a fighter and to stay away from the streets. And Vanessa, she now has this goal to become champion, right? When she turned pro, to get herself as well as her family out of the streets of Los Angeles to get a better life.
That's neat.
Interesting. She has her own Mickey.
Yeah, the trainer's name is Mike Reyes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I just came up with that bio like a little bit ago, like when I first uploaded her profile on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
Huh.
Nice.
Interesting.
And yeah, I have a lot of OCs. It's hard to keep track of sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can
That's nice.
I can remember most of your OCs off by heart, but yeah.
I can imagine her in a pig with her and Little Mac fighting.
Yeah.
I actually commissioned you, Alejindio, to draw her one time. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than once, right? Yeah. I remember.
I commissioned you to draw Lane Wolf. I commissioned you to draw Vanessa Storm, and I commissioned you to draw Luna's boxing matches with a boxing match with Lane.
Yeah. And I've also commissioned you to draw a few of his OCs before, as you remember.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, many of them were from you, right?
Yeah, I commissioned them on behalf of Aprils 20.
Many people likes that's why I sometimes really like the Loud House, because many people really, ask many people have their own OCs in their minds, but they wanted to watch them, to watch them like real, and they ask not only me, some artists to draw them because they want to watch a draw of their OCs, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool,
And I suppose while we're here and we're talking about OCs, the only one who hasn't really elaborated is me. Now, most of you probably know who my main OC is. I've got quite a few of them. They're all on my, they're on the front cover of my, no, they're not. They used to be. They're all on my DeviantArt anyway. I've got quite a few different OCs, all that are very different types of characters. The one I've probably used the most over the years is an OC called Bab's Bestie. Now, most of you probably remember this character from some of the stories I've written, like The Quest for Glory and The Loud's Finest Hour, and most recently, The Multiverse War, where an alternate universe version of her shows up and she's like a cyborg. But basically, Bab's Bestie I originally created in The Quest for Glory, which is like a story focusing on, remember the astonishing quest from Racing Hearts in season 3? And The Quest for Glory is like a much bigger version of that, where everyone's competing for a big cash prize. And Bab's Bestie is sort of like the main antagonist of the story. She's like got these enhancements that make her ridiculously super overpowered compared to everybody else, even Lynn. And like basically, I saw the character herself. I guess you could say there are inspirations from not only Lynn Jr. herself, but also from both Jiren from Dragon Ball Super and Tai Lung from Panda. Obviously, in the case of Jiren, well, for those of you who are familiar with the Dragon Ball franchise, in the Tournament of Power, he was basically this overpowered guy who nobody could even touch until right at the end. And he just seemed like this insurmountable force that nobody could deal with. And obviously, Babs was portrayed in the same way. It's not until the final climax of the story where she actually gets beat. And from the point of like Tai Lung, there is this like backstory to Babs where she became this like expert fighter through this this mentor who taught her. But basically she didn't get the big success she wanted. She blamed him for it, and she turned on him in the same way that I guess Tai Lung turned on Shifu when he didn't get what he wanted. There were sort of things, similarities there. And then after Babs is eventually beaten, she sort of reformed. She then just ends up being like a rival to Lynn Jr. in future stories, because let's face it, Lynn Jr. should have had a rival by now. Most of the Loud siblings should have had rivals in the show by now, don't you think? Like, they've never really done that. We had Lindy Sweetwater in season 1, that never went anywhere. We had Carol Pingree with Laurie, and that never really went anywhere. So it's like, But Lynn Jr.
They tried to give one to Lana, right?
Yeah, you'd definitely expect Lynn Jr. to have a rival, wouldn't you? But it's never happened. So why not Babs Bestie? and it's quite. I always try to like derive some humor out of their dynamic because they're both like these really aggressive, confrontational, competitive tomboy types, and they're always getting up in each other's faces, and it's like you could get a lot of comedy out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then obviously I have some other OCs. Like earlier on, I mentioned Miss Curator, named after Amanda, who's like this business owner of an art company, and she ends up sort of like getting to know Luna, and she was a decent OC, I think. I only used her that one time. I also have Viribus, as most of you know. He is basically the ultimate villain of the Loud House franchise. I made him years ago, way before the likes of Morag or Fifu Dufu or Akuma or any of that existed. And basically, I originally made him as part of like at the time there were lots of these stories where like no such luck and brawl in the family response fanfics where it was all like the Lao's siblings are evil and basically all the fans wanted Lincoln to like completely snap and like get some big revenge against them. And Viribus was actually introduced as a guy who would teach him to stand up for himself, but he did it in a very sort of toxic way. And like that, it was a story that was kind of like meant to deconstruct all of that at the time. Over the years, I've sort of evolved his character a little bit. And he sort of has this sort of dynamic with Lin Jr. Like, remember that season 3 episode Middlemen, where it turns out she was bullied in her first day of middle school, and that's what taught her to become tougher and all that. Well, earlier that same year, before Middlemen came out, I wrote a story called Pushover or Payback, which had Viribus debut, and basically he did the exact same thing with Lincoln, but in a far more drastic way. Basically, it was the plot of Middlemen, but a lot darker, a lot bigger. You know what I mean? Like, and he was teaching Lincoln to stand up for himself, but he was doing it in a very bad way, in the same way that Lin was kind of doing it in that episode. And then I thought, you know what? Wouldn't it make sense if there was some sort of, I don't know, backstory between them two? Like, he's the one who taught Lin to be the way she is way back in the first place. I don't know. Basically, yeah, Viribus is a character. He's a guy who's been bullied, excluded, looked down on, and just kind of screwed over all his life. And he's on this massive, quest to, I don't know, become some sort of deity because he's got these mental demons. I'm probably not explaining it very well right now, but yeah, he's basically, imagine if Lincoln did what all the fans wanted him to do, but I don't know, it's like if it went to this like extreme level, I don't know, like Viribus is, yeah. I'm not really explaining this very well. Yeah, my apologies. I'm not. Yeah, as I said, I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment, so my talking ability.
I hear you.
It's okay.
I do have some other OCs. Beth Bestie, who is Babs' little sister, who's a pageant girl like Lola, except she's probably a little bit more capable of holding her temper than Lola is. So there is that. I did have Maxie Cooper, who was like a sort of like blonde, tough teenage boy who, before Henrik existed, I sort of had like be a boyfriend to Lin Jr. And then I had some other characters like there was this guy from a fic I wrote called It's a Kid's World years ago called Chester Bundy, who was kind of inspired by Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones, a very evil, sick, psychopathic bastard. Yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of different OCs, but yeah. And obviously there's the Viridroids, who are Viribus's robotic army. Yeah. Yeah, and then I suppose. Oh, and I also have a Shera who is like a multiversal traveler. She's actually a scientist, but she has this sort of gimmick where she acts like a superstitious fortune teller. But she's actually a scientific prodigy like Lisa Loud. Originally, she appeared in It's a Kid's World as like this eccentric teller of the future. But over time, I've sort of evolved her character to be like the one who brings everyone together to fight big multiversal threats, and that's what she's doing now in the Loud House Multiverse War. Which some of you I like. Some of you I imagine have kept up with,
Yeah,
or at
I
least
think
just
so.
doing the artwork for it.
Yeah. Really good
Yeah.
stuff.
So most of you like listening to this podcast, I imagine you mostly already know, but in recent months I have started this project called the Loud House Multiverse War, which basically focuses on all the OCs and alternate universes, like all the biggest ones in the fandom. So you've got Raisha GS's legendary Lady Ace, AU, and all the OCs involved in that. You've got Ruhisu's Hammer Down version of the Loud House and all the OCs that come from that. You've got the ones I mentioned earlier, the ones that Roy and Alejindio have done, like the future versions of the Loud Sisters, like Lana and Lola, or Lulu and Lauren, as they're referred to in this story. And you've also got Noah's Knockout Rocker OCs in there as well. To HeroFlash's Uga Nil, who's like this sort of deity character who has a relationship with Luna. Yeah. So for those of you listening to this podcast, if that story interests you, go and check it out. Yeah. So that's enough about my OCs, I guess. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about this topic before we wrap things up?
Well, there was another storyline I was going to talk about.
Okay.
A few more storylines. One of them actually involves Rocky Spokes and how he disappeared from the series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it actually involves their stepmother.
Right.
See, my story was that their actual biological mother had died sometime after Rocky was born, and their dad got married to this other woman who, after divorced Rodney, ended up taking full custody of Rocky and basically took him with her. And this woman would be very sinister, like an evil businesswoman, much in the same vein as like Joyce Crandall or that Monica woman from the Casa Grandes.
What if it was Joyce Crandall, just to be like a random twist?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of batting that around. Like, what if it is Joyce Crandall? And it's like, she's like the Spokes' evil stepmother.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like someone else is joining in.
Joined us. He's the one who originally suggested this podcast idea in the first place. Hi there, Turtle.
There is no name.
So, anywho, the story scenario would involve Lincoln and friends trying to help Rusty get his little brother back from the wicked stepmother, whether it be the actual Joyce Crandall or another variation thereof.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's interesting. I mean, there are some interesting ideas, Josh. Have you ever thought of like writing any like in-depth stories based on these concepts?
Well, like I said, I do have like the title cards that have these detailed Some of them are more detailed than others,
Yeah, I know
but others are just
not the title
plain.
cards, but I mean, like, have you ever thought of like writing a full-on story about?
Well, I'm not really a big fanfic person. Writing, I usually write profiles. Like another big example is I actually came up with an entire backstory for that T-Bone character
Oh
in the
yeah,
Casagrandes.
yeah. I think you mentioned that in one of our previous podcasts. I think.
And it actually explains his family backstory.
Yeah.
How he was born in Croatia, and after he was abandoned by his sleazy Casanova father, he was adopted by a family of traveling gypsies called the Boninskis.
Okay.
There are two brothers named Tobias and Petrov who adopt him as his uncles, and then there's their fortune-telling aunt named Zita.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how he comes to America at a young age when their friend Ziggy Sr. agrees to bring him in and even give him a job at his record store. You know that Ziggy character from the Casagrandes, the one who Bobby meets up with, and him and Parr work at his record shop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually came up with a scenario where him and T-Bone actually grew up together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since we're almost an hour in, since you're the one who originally suggested this topic, would you like to elaborate a bit more on your OC, Uga Nil, while you're here?
Yeah, give me a minute. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I was scared for a second, when I see that Turtle doesn't have an avatar, and I thought it was like movie Unfriended.
Yeah.
Unfriended. I don't know if you watch it.
Yeah, that kind of, I was gonna say, it kind of reminded me of that too.
I got scared for a second, to be honest. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, it looks like
Can I mention something? I had an idea. Well, not really my idea, but like I've done. I don't have OCs, but I do have like I had an idea for like a Loud House AU. I've done a lot of. I've always wanted to see like a crossover between Loud House and like some popular fairy tales, and I've actually done some commissions for people based on like famous fairy tales, but like using Loud House characters instead. And that was actually something I actually pitched that to Paper Cuts a while back to the editor. Unfortunately, I don't know if that'll ever come to fruition, but it was just an idea I had because I had a lot of ideas for that particular type of book. But it was just something I wanted to add to the conversation.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Like one of them was like Lincoln in the Beanstalk or something, right?
Yeah. That was actually one of my ideas I came up with a while ago. And then that's actually something I pitched originally to Paper Cuts to get in. I had to do like an artist test or like an art test where you had to submit like a comic concept. And that was the idea I went with. And I did it all by hand because I had no experience doing digital comics at that point. So that was a huge learning curve for me when I got in with Paper Cuts. So yeah, that one was all done by hand. So I had anytime I made a mistake with the pencil, I had to go back and erase it or use whiteout or whatever. Like, oh, that was frustrating. So,
Yeah.
But
All right.
I really like those ideas of crossovers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I done some commission with, with Lincoln meets, Luna from Hell by Bus, or with OC. I really like the crossovers. I mean, do you think maybe do you think the original show of the Loud House ever thought about maybe doing that? Like what they did in that episode where with the pool episode, where we see a lot of the old people characters in the Loud House style. We see Iroh, we see who was the other one? That teacher of Jimmy Neutron. Don't you
Oh
remember?
yeah, Miss Fowl.
Miss Fowl.
You're talking about
really
the
loved
episode Link or Swim where they showed all the
Yeah.
elderly Nicktoons
Yeah.
characters.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that again. I mean, that was when I saw that, I said, "Wow, that was very cool." Why?
I
they
remember
didn't do
there
it
was a Casa Grande's episode where they did a reference to the cabbage vendor from Avatar.
Oh yeah, I remember
The one where they were skating through the grocery store, and they made that "my cabbages" reference.
Yeah, but in that episode, Link or Swim, they literally insert those characters in the Loud House style. I don't understand why they didn't keep doing that.
Right.
I mean, Nickelodeon has a lot of characters to do that.
Yeah.
Both cartoon and live action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You imagine maybe, Hey Arnold, Doug. I mean, I know they do a SpongeBob, but nah, that's very simple, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
I've done some fan art crossovers of Loud House characters with characters even from other even like non-Nickelodeon cartoons. I don't know if y'all remember a cartoon that used to be on Cartoon Network called Camp Laszlo. It was back in the mid 2000s. I loved that show growing up.
Me too.
Yeah, there was a character. There were the Bean Scouts, and then there were the Squirrel Scouts. And I remember one of the Squirrel Scouts was like an alligator character named Gretchen. And I made like artwork years back. I thought like, oh, I wonder if her and Lana would be good friends because they're both like tomboys and like to play in the mud. I made artwork of that years ago. It's somewhere on my DeviantArt page. It's like way far back. I think I also did. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, and this I think it was back in like 2019. I did another artwork of I did a couple characters that Nika Futterman voiced. I did Luna, and there was a character from the show Cat Dog that she voiced.
Lola
the bird. Yeah. I did artwork of that years ago. So I always loved doing I even did a crossover with My Life's a Teenage Robot and The Loud House too. I know that show was on back in the early 2000s. So yeah, it's fun doing crossovers.
Yeah. We actually did a podcast of which Loud characters would be certain superheroes.
Oh yeah, I listened to some of that.
Yeah. So are you back now, Turtle Man? You there?
I thought he was. I heard him a little bit.
Oh, I did. Speaking of Loud House's superheroes, I did a artwork years ago, back in 2019, because that's when it was 2017. That's when I started drawing the Loud House, and it was I did some of the Louds as the Avengers. I'm trying to remember. Some of the roles made sense, other ones didn't. I was trying to just be creative. I think I did Lincoln as Captain America. Who was the Hulk? I think I did Lynn as the Hulk. I did Lana as Ant-Man. I think Luna is Iron Man, because I know that if you ever watch the MCU Iron Man movies, I know he was really into rock music and stuff like that. Like AC/DC. I'm trying to remember who else. I think I did Luann as Black Widow, because she's very sneaky and stealthy assassin. I'm trying to remember who else. I think I did Lucy as Hawkeye. I try to remember the artwork because I drew it up years ago, but
yeah.
Lucy Hawkeye. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah. Is anyone else wants to quickly say before we end this?
That's to be honest. I mean,
think I'm good.
I mean, there's a lot more I'd like to talk about, but we'd probably be here all day.
Yeah, I can imagine you've got tons of ideas, Josh. I think we've said pretty much what we need to say here. There are tons of different OCs and AUs related to the Loud House within the fandom, and we've only covered a tiny proportion of them. I have sort of elaborated on some other ones with some of you, in fact, in other podcasts. So obviously, for those of you listening to this, if you want to go and listen to those, if you haven't already, then go and do that. Thanks to everyone who has been a part of this podcast. We've had 7 people be involved this time, which is possibly the most I've had so far, which is pretty good. Yeah, but yeah, it's been an all right one. I think we'll wrap things up. So I will see you all next time.